I'm Alison Bertram. I work in Leeds encouraging older people to be active, and in 2012 with the Olympics coming to London, I thought it'd be a nice idea to talk to older people and find out if they remembered when the Olympics last came to London, which was in 1948. Hopefully they would remember the Olympics, but certainly they would be able to share their memories of what they were doing and what life was like. In addition to collecting personal stories, I also wanted to find people with memorabilia linked to the 1948 Olympic Games, and also, if possible, people who had been to the 48 Games as spectators and potentially some of the athletes.
I've worked with Alison Bertram, who's the Sports Development Officer for older people for the council. We've sort of met to discuss ways we could work as a service for the council together in terms of bringing sports and museums and heritage together. And this project came up because we were discussing 2012, and we both thought we wanted some kind of legacy for Leeds in terms of the current Olympics that are coming up, but also looking back to try and capture people's memories of those who might have experienced the Olympics in a different time. Heritage Service is very much about capturing what has gone on, but also documenting contemporary history through film, oral histories, Digi stories, because we have the physical buildings in the museum service that people can visit, where we have displays and showcases and so on, but we also want to create a big online collection of film work and archive material, so that younger generations coming up who relate much more to kind of that sort of media can have the same sort or similar experiences to the ones as if they actually physically visited the museum. So we're working on two levels, which is why we really try and look at working intergenerationally, so that you have the older person's perspective, the younger person's perspective, and hopefully that with the dialogue that's created between the two, looking at life experience but also objects, because all objects tell a story, that we can bring that together somehow, and both sets can benefit from the experience.
I'm based at a place called the Discovery Centre, which is the main store for the museum service. It probably holds about 1 million objects in there. And on this particular project, we're very much in a supporting role, where myself and my colleague will come along with a box of objects. It's all 1940s things that were sourced from the store. In terms of from an object perspective, and that's one of the things that we're really involved in is recording old histories, but collecting information about objects when we're actually out talking to people. Because we've got all these objects, and the experts aren't just people in the museum service, it's people out there, Joe Public.
Gabrielle introduced me to Tracy Craggs, who works with Oral Histories, and Alison Glew, who creates Digi Stories. At the same time as doing the intergenerational workshops, the volunteers were collecting oral histories from people who had a link to the 1948 Olympic Games.
Well, we started with a training day for the interviewers. I was lucky to meet 4 wonderful people who were very enthusiastic, and I managed not to knock that out of them on the day's training I had with them. It's a very difficult balancing act between saying these are the pitfalls you might meet, this is the way, the techniques and how to deal with that, this is what an ideal interview situation would look like, but then still encourage people to be enthused about what is wonderful work. I mean, in my experience, there's nothing better. I absolutely love it. And so at the end of the day, I managed not to put them off, I think. And as a result, then they've been out and they've been meeting people who are spectators, who are competitors, people with memories of the Olympics. And the results have been really, really good.
The bit I really enjoy about doing this sort of project is just talking to the people and making them realise that we really value what they've got to tell us. It's lovely when we come into the room and they're all chatting away, and then they realise that you actually want them, to tell you their personal story. And it's lovely to see the faces light up when you sometimes bring out an object that they might not have seen in years, or a photograph that means a lot to them, and just get them to start talking and remembering about those days when those pictures were taken. And it just sort of brings it to life for them, really. But one of the other really nice things is having the younger people involved as well, because that's made a big difference for me. The projects I've done in the past have either been younger ones or older ones. So to have them interacting together and to get the young people giving their views about what life's like now, but also telling the older people how they might have coped in the old days, it's been really interesting.
I recently transcribed Dick Radley's interview with interviewer Jack, and I have found his story personally inspirational. How someone, even at his age, is so committed to personal fitness and making the best that he can of himself, and the fact that he's pushed himself his whole life. Not being at all sporty myself, it's been a real privilege to have a view into how somebody else operates on that level, because I didn't know anything about the 48 Olympics before we started this project. And to see the fact that it's actually, it carries on that feel of austerity, the rationing, finding out that of course the athletes were, they were allowed double rations, I think, but they were still rationed, and that they were sleeping. You know, when you compare that to how today's athletes are pampered and how they have every facility going, that to me it is a real triumph of what the Olympics was about it being a real competition, but with a really nice spirit to it after everything that they'd all been through in such recent times. To see that carried on in the form of the Olympics has been really interesting for me.
This project has involved many different people, and so and some have never met. So we wanted to bring everybody together in one place at a celebration event so that everybody could learn about all the different aspects of the project. So we had the older people and the young people that had been in the workshops together. We had the volunteers who'd been doing the oral histories. We had past Olympians, 4 past Olympians at the event. We had a guest speaker, Tommy Godwin, who'd won bronze medals for cycling in the 1948 Olympic Games. We had a local singing group who came and sang some 1940s songs.
A little shy and sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, a magic day, he passed my way, and while we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me.
I think one of the things that I've really enjoyed about this project has been bringing different people together and just listening to their stories. And I think for me personally, one of the really great things is that we've been able to borrow objects from people. A pennant, for example, from the 1948 Games. Now that will be a star object, and actually going out and meeting the guy and seeing his face light up as an object that, yes, he likes it and it was important to him, but to actually have that physically in a main city museum and other people to enjoy the object, I mean, that's part of the job I absolutely love, and that you think you're really hopefully making history and making that person make history, if that makes sense. And I think the other thing is just, as I say, collecting people's memories, because older people in particular, I think, have so much that they can offer and share, and their voices are rarely heard. And so for me, to have those people's voices physically in the museum through the media we can now use is absolutely amazing.